during this webinar, I'm going to be using a new format, right? So there will be some times I'll want to check if you are with me, and I'll be requesting you to do some things, right? Not so heavy stuff. You don't even need to type words, right? I'm gonna ask you to just type 111 if you can hear me and you can see me and you can see the screen, right? So type 111 in the chat section. If you can hear me, you can see me, right? I'm also fine. And you can see the screen. So drop me a 111 in the chat section. All right, okay. All right, great. All right, great. Amazing. All right. Okay, so whilst we are doing that, I'll get started with the intro. Okay, but for now, let's put the music on pause so we can enjoy the time, right? All right, great. So, welcome everybody. It's nice to have you guys here. I mean, it's amazing to see Nigerians and youth coming together at this time at the weekend where everybody should be enjoying their time and they're trying to learn about personal finance and investing. That's quite exciting, right? So, I'm Olufemi Grace. I'm a financial analyst, I'm a business analyst. And for today, I'll be our host on how to get started investing in real estate with $10. I mean, let's forget the topic for now. Let's just do the intro, right? I'm Olufemi. I'm excited, right? I'm excited to have everybody here, and I'm excited to meet all of us. So, anybody that would be kind enough, right, that would love to unmute their mic, that would love to type in the chat section, please, I would love to get to know you. We would love to get to know you. So let's intro ourselves. You don't need to raise your hand. You can just unmute yourself and intro. Okay, so let's get started. Anybody want to break the silence? All right. Anybody wants to break the silence?
All right, good evening,
All right,
everybody.
good
I'm
evening, everybody.
I'm Israel Jedediah,
I'm
and
Mr. Josiah, and
I'm joining the call
I'm
from
joining the call
Ibadan.
from Ibadan.
Yeah,
Oh, amazing.
yes. I'm into content writing, anything related to writing, and I have a great passion for real estate. I joined quite a few real estate companies a few months times. Well, currently I'm out of the system due to the distance from my place.
Oh, interesting.
Uh, Thank you. Any other
Amazing.
thing?
Nice to meet you, Israel. I mean, I
Thank
was
you.
about to give, when I said everybody was not breaking their silence, right? I was about to do a giveaway, but since you spoke already, I think there's no need for the giveaway
There's a
again.
need actually. There's a need. Thank you.
So don't
I will
worry, we'll
enter
do
your
the
DM.
giveaway.
I will
All
enter
right,
your
no
DM
problem.
for my giveaway. Thank you.
We'll do the giveaway later in the call. We'll still do more, right? Okay, so we have somebody in the chat section that's saying, I'm Abdul Aziz from Ibadan. I'm a data engineer. Wow, nice to have you here, data engineer. So who else wants to give us an intro?
Okay, good
Waiting.
evening.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, good evening, Chris.
Good evening. No, Olumide.
Yeah, my name is Olumide Taiwo, and um I'm joining from Songwater, and I'm a web developer and an SEO guy. It's
Wow, nice.
it's great to
All
be
right, so
here this evening.
nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. But you
Nice,
know,
nice.
the reason why the nice to meet you is quite funny and it's laughing is we've known each other for almost a decade now, if not more than a decade, right? I mean, it's interesting, right? You know, the funny thing about introducing yourself, right? The good thing about introducing yourself when you come into spaces like this is that if you introduce yourself, you let us know a little bit about what you do, what you can offer, right? You're kind of in some way putting yourself out there, right? So if I'm looking for a data engineer now, or I'm looking for a copywriter, or I'm looking for somebody that is into real estate, right? Or I'm looking for an SEO person. Oh, I know that I heard of one Olumide somewhere, right? I could just go look him up on LinkedIn and all, right? I mean, we have amazing guys here. So, I mean, it would be nice if everybody can introduce themselves and we can get started. I think Favor is raising his or her hand. Favor, you can go for it.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Hi, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, my name is Favor Oluwagbami. I think that's written here. Um, I'm a social media marketer. I handle social media marketing for brands, and I'm very, very passionate about real estate. I look forward to using real estate as a catalyst to solve socially impacting problems in Africa. Yeah,
Wow,
thank
that's
you.
an amazing intro. That's like some intro that they give at the United Nations Summit. That's amazing. Nice to meet you, Favor. All
Thank
right.
you. Miss you too.
All right. Is there any other person that want to go for it in the chat section? You want to take the mic? All right. Anybody? So
Hello, good morning, good evening, everyone.
yeah, good
Can
evening.
you
Are you
hear me?
joining us from USA?
No, no, no. So
Interesting. Morning.
I'm currently joining from Abuja, and my name is Theophilus. I'm a software engineer, and I'm very, very passionate about anything investment, anything money. So that's
Wow.
what um triggered my interest into this
Oh, interesting.
webinar. Yeah, and I hope to get something out of this. Thank you.
Right. Welcome to the space. Nice to meet you, Theophilus. Right. All right. Anybody? Let's just have one or two persons to intro, then we can go for it. Fit Michael, you can go for it.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm Fitzmichael by name. I'm into data science, and I'm
Wow.
also interested in anything relating to investment, financial breakthrough, all those things. So all of us are looking out for something. That is
Yeah.
part of why I joined the webinar tonight.
All right. All right. Great. All right. Great. All right. Great. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. I think we can get started now, so we don't waste our time, right? I mean, time is money, especially when you're dealing with investment. Time is money, right? Okay. Great. So if you can see my screen now, you can hear me clearly. Drop a 222 for me in the chat box so we can get started right away. All right, that's one, that's two. All right, that's three. Okay, I think we're good. All right. Okay, so let's get that. Let's get straight into business. All right, so like I said earlier, the main purpose of this webinar, this live webinar, is to discuss how we can get started investing in real estate, right? With as low as $10. And we can start generating monthly income, right? Because beyond just investing, right? One thing that is very important at the stage that we are in now is being able to generate income. No matter the activity that you're involved in, you're selling, you're doing business, you're a developer, you're doing this and this. It's all about money, right? Being able to bring in cash flow monthly, weekly, as fast as possible, right? So that's what actually matters in this area that we are in with the inflation and all, right? And that's one of the focus of this webinar. So everybody's interested in investing, right? But one thing that we all face when we want to start investing, right? I faced this when I was starting out, is the fact that you don't have so much capital to actually put into some investment, right? Some investments are crazily high. Their capital requirement is as high as 1 million, 2 million. If you go to the big guys league, very, very big like guys, you got start talking about 10 million, 50 million, 100 million minimum. There are even some that are like 1 billion. I mean, I'm on a real estate group and I see properties that are being posted for 1 billion in this same country. So if you want to get started investing in real estate, obviously you will not get started with 1 billion, right? So if you want to get started at the very barest minimum, and you want to start making cash flow, that is what this webinar is for. And I do believe you are in the right space. All right, so that's what we want to discuss, right? And what our journey will look like basically for today is we'll be going through the overview of the real estate generally, real estate as an asset class generally. Then we'll be going through pros and cons of investing in real estate. What are the possible alternatives, right? If I'm saying there are some properties in this same Nigeria, Yeah, people are saying, oh, they don't have money for TFA, they don't have money for this and this, and their property selling for £1 billion. I mean, selling within weeks. So how can I get started into this? We'll look at alternatives of that kind of investment. Then we'll look at how to make monthly income from this, right? From these alternatives and from real estate generally. Then we'll look at how you can do it yourself. Because trust me, the goal of this webinar is not to lord over everybody, right? It's not to stand as much as I know something that I can show people the ropes, it's not to stand as the so-called authority or the gatekeeper of the space, right? It's to make it easy in such a way that when you learn, you can do it yourself. Whatever you learn, you can do it yourself. And I do believe in paying it forward. So when you learn, you can do it yourself. You can explain it in the easy way to a 10-year-old. Then you can pay it forward by teaching someone else how to do it. And I believe that's one of the ways we can actually set Nigeria itself on a path to financial prosperity. Because as a nation, our prosperity as a nation depends on our prosperity as an individual. See it as small stones gathered together. You paint all those stones white, but you paint one black and you put that black amidst them. From afar, you see the black. But if you paint everything white, the whole stone look like one big white edifice, right? And that's why I believe in doing it yourself. Everybody should be able to do it themselves, right? So, and apart from that, we'll be looking at deals that you can explore, that you can leverage, right, in the real estate space, and you still be making money. So let's get started into the space directly. All right, to get started, let's play a game. First person to tell me what real estate is as a gift. So what do you think is real estate? What do we think is real estate? Anybody want to go for it? You can unmute yourself. You can drop it in the chat section. Fastest finger or fastest hand. Yeah. Let's go for it. Anybody? Anyone? Interesting. Can we hear me? Am I audible? All right, go for it. Go for it. All right. Oh, Olumide, first man to the track. Real estate is defined as land or any permanent structure like home improvements attached to land, whether it's natural or man-made. Real estate is far. Okay, Peter is saying real estate is okay. Let me say he's saying real estate is type of investment that has to do with physical structure. That's what Peter is saying. Amazing, right? So I think everybody is correct, right? Even with Michael that is still raising his hand that has not spoken yet, everybody is correct, right? So real estate at its basics, at its core, it's all about investment that is physical. I mean, people are already connecting the chat section. All right. So real estate generally, right? It's all about anything that is tied to the ground, right? It can be land, it can be house, right? The moment something is connected to the ground and it becomes a structure that can serve a purpose, it becomes a real estate property. So generally, the natural real estate that we have is land, and everybody knows that, right? And then we have buildings. If you buy a piece of land now, you build your house on it, your land become a real estate property because it's attached to the land and it automatically has value. I believe we all know what real estate is, so we're not going to spend so much time on that. But why are we considering this asset class? It's pretty simple. 68% of the world's net worth is tied into real estate. I do believe that's something worth considering, right? If 60% of the world's net worth, I mean, we're saying Elon Musk is worth XYZ, Warren Buffett is worth XYZ. If you combine the whole net worth of the entire world together, what this statistic is saying is 68% of that value of the money is in real estate. So obviously there's something special about this asset class, right? And that is why we need to consider it as a means to grow wealth, as a means of investment for individuals that are just starting up, especially, right? We need to consider this. And what makes this asset class special? Generally, it's not something so out of the world, right? It's just the fact that there's a principle when it comes to investing. If something has value and is durable, right? Even one of the property of money is whatever item that you want to use to represent money must be durable, durability, right? I must be able to take it from X to Y, and it's not like it's going to perish. That's how we moved from using commodity, rice, yam, as a means of exchanging value to using cowrie shells that are more durable, right? So that's one of the properties that makes real estate like interesting assets, right? It's durable and it has intrinsic value. And when you come to investment, any asset that has durability and has a real intrinsic value that you can't take the value away from it, over time, the price of such assets increases exponentially. And that is why most people have actually been investing in real estate, right? So let me tell you a story. There's this popular restaurant chain that if you read a lot, right, and if you watch movies, you've probably seen it before. It's called McDonald's, right? So McDonald's is just like chicken rep for guys in Nigeria. It's just like KFC, and most people know KFC, right? So just like those regular restaurants. But at a certain point, they discovered that, oh, they have an amazing restaurant, right? What if they take it all over the country in US? So they started that. But by the time they started doing it, they started going to different states, different town. They were making money. It was amazing, right? I mean, there's always this adrenaline rush when you're starting something new. Today you're in Osun State, you're setting up a restaurant. Tomorrow you're in Lagos. Tomorrow you're in Anambra. Tomorrow you're in Ekiti. All those stuffs, it's exciting, right? But they discovered along the way that at the end of the day, when the business is calculating the profit and all, the main person that was pushing the franchise discovered that he was not making money. He was not making so much profit. His profit margin was so small that he could not even afford to sponsor the next branch to open. And that was when his eyes opened to real estate, right? So he thought to do this. Whenever he's opening the new branch, the new franchise, instead of giving out or renting the property from someone else, why can't he just buy the real estate property, right? And rent it out to anybody that's setting up? And after a few years, it was discovered that out of like 70% of their revenue, out of the entire revenue that the company is making, that McDonald's as a company is making, more than 70% of it was coming from real estate. McDonald's is a restaurant company, restaurant chain that makes money primarily for the public, primarily makes money from selling food, selling burgers, selling drinks and stuff. But at the end of the day, 70% of their revenue is coming from real estate. So we can see that this is an amazing asset class that we can leverage, right? If you agree with me, just drop a 222 in the chat box. Let's see if you agree with me. If you agree with me that with what you've heard, this seems like something that you would pay attention to. It's an asset class that you want to pay attention to. All right, great. So we've had this. We know that 60% of the world net worth is tied into this asset class, right? But why should you, as an individual, why should I, as an individual, invest in real estate? We are considering this as a general asset class, right? The first thing is, one, is tangible. So it's not like crypto. It's not like crypto is a bad asset, right? I'm just saying that someone as humans, you feel more safe and more convenient when we buy things that we can see with our hand. I mean, have you ever paid for something online and you pay so huge amounts? At the end of the day, you probably got a PDF or bunch of videos and you feel like, oh shit, at 200K, don't go. I mean, I've had this multiple times. There was a course I paid for last year the cost was around 200, 250K, right? After everything, I just got slides, classes, and all. And my 200K was gone. I mean, I couldn't hold what I paid 200K for, right? I mean, it doesn't even make sense. When you see guys buying guns of 30,000 naira on Call of Duty, right? There's this meme that's always flying around that, are you telling your daddy at home that you're buying gun with 30K on Call of Duty, right? So it's kind of amazing. One of the, which is pointing back to tangible assets. One of the things and one of the properties of real estate is that it's tangible. It's something that you can see and you can hold on to, right? If let's say you buy a land now, you can go to where the land is, you can see it, you can measure it, you can stand on it. That's one thing about real estate, the tangible asset. So when you buy it from the right source, when you invest in real estate from the right source, the probability of you losing your money is I mean, it's very remote. It's not like NFT that you can buy one ape guy for $10,000 and tomorrow they said your image is worth $500, right? So real estate is tangible. The next thing is real estate value always appreciates. Generally, if you check the history of the entire world, there has never been a time when they said this particular land was selling for a million last year, was selling for a million like 5 years ago, but now we're selling for 500,000. It doesn't happen. I mean, it doesn't happen at all. Real estate is like this asset class that's always going forward ever, backward never, right? Unless the person that is selling, let's say you own real estate and you are selling at a distress point, that's when you get some price reduction. But if you're not in that situation, the value of your real estate will always go up. Then the next thing is real estate provides cash flow. For those that knows how to handle their assets, real estate is an asset that can produce cash flow for you, right? Ajayi, you are laughing in the chat section. I'm not talking about NFT this night, right? But let's continue. So real estate is an asset that can offer cash flow for you, right? I mean, there are different types of real estate, right? You could let me double down on that. So you could buy a piece of land now. Two people can buy a piece of land now. One person is land banking, holding it for 5 years. The other person is thinking, yeah, I want to hold it for 5 years. How can I produce cash with it? And the person think, oh, nice. Let me just find somewhere in a very strategic position, probably close to the main road. I can buy the land, get guys to come and rent it, put temporary shops on it. While my land is being banked and the value is growing, I can still generate cash flow from that, from the rentage, right? So that's one thing about real estate. If you know how to work your asset very well, you can produce cash flow from it. Same thing applies to properties like buildings, commercial property, residential properties. It can always produce cash flow, right? Then another thing is real estate offers high return. On the long term, not somebody that is looking to jump in today, get out tomorrow, right? Real estate produces cash flow and high return. And the next thing is, if you invest in real estate, right, in some countries where tax is like a very, very big deal, right, you're eligible for tax deduction. If you're in US, you're in UK, you understand the impact of tax more than those guys in Africa, especially in Nigeria, right? So those are the reasons why most investors invest in real estate. And this is why 68% of the world's total net worth is tied into real estate, right? So as much as this asset class is interesting, as much as it is attractive, there are barriers, right? I think everything that has value will have a level of barrier from entry, right? So let's put it this way. We already know that real estate is land, buildings, it could be airport, it could be school, it could be anything, right? Any physical structure that looks like a house, that looks like a land is real estate. But when you're investing in real estate, there are barriers to it. Generally, one, there's a barrier in terms of knowledge. Just like anything, just like rocket science, just like chemistry, you have to know about what you're playing with, right? Because when it comes to money, for guys that have traded forex before, that have traded crypto before, you know that there are some asset classes where you can lose your money within a minute, right? So when it comes to real estate, if you really want to make money from real estate, you need to know about it, right? You need to know which land to buy, where to buy, at what price to buy, the terms and conditions to buy, right? So let me give you an example. So I've got a couple of real estate that I've been able to like acquire and acquire with other guys, right? And because of that, I've been able to have insight into what are the things you check for. Just like when you're buying a car, you check for the engine, you check for this and that, right? So a friend wanted to get a piece of real estate, right? And the person was like, "Oh, I'm looking to get this and this. Somebody showed me this." Right from just meeting the person that wants to sell. Oh, I said, "Oh, this look like okay. Let's meet up tomorrow and check it out tomorrow, right?" Immediately we're leaving that spot. I told the person, "You can't buy this. If you put your money in this, just assume that you are dashing the person money, right?" The reason is because I have knowledge. I have insight into some things that the person would not see because the person is a newbie into real estate, right? The same person, we went to another place, right, to check another place out. I mean, it was a good piece. The land was good, but there was a but. The location one, the structure of the place. So there's this thing about real estate, especially land. When investing in land, the kind of layout where your land is located will determine its value. So let's put it this way. If you've gone to some very, very rough part of Lagos, where you have to drop from probably your boat or your car and go between buildings to get to where you are going. Let's assume somebody wants to sell something like that to you for 2 million. The probability of you buying it is very small, especially if you want to build your house there. Why? Because the location is not just good. There's some things that could increase the worth of the land are not there, like good road, a very good layout, the structure. I mean, it's not you're not buying land where half of the land is dry ground, half of the land is sinking sand, is always floating with water. So when you want to invest in real estate generally, there are some things that you're supposed to know. And that's one of the things that creates a barrier for early investors. Then another thing is financing. For anybody that have actually acquired any piece of real estate physical before, you know that it's not something that you just wake up one day and go buy, unless you are making like millions already, right? So it's not something that you just wake up one day and say, you know what, I want to go get this, right? So you need cash. You need to have some level of financial stability before you can actually buy it, because it's not something you buy today and start expecting money tomorrow, right? So it requires a lot of money. Like I mentioned earlier, there are properties in Nigeria that are sold for millions, billions, right? So that is another barrier for entry, especially for the youth that are just getting started, right? And Nigeria is not even the country or the economy where the value of real estate go down for some time and people are able to buy in it cheap and the value comes back up, right? Nigeria is a place where the value of real estate is most time stable and going up. So you really need cash to get started. Then the next thing is time and effort. No matter what, if you want to invest in real estate, let's say you want to get a land, you want to build a property, you want to, whatever you want to do. The whole chain of real estate is you get a land, you build a property on it to create value, rent it out, you sell it or something, right? So for you to do this, to actually make money out of it, you need time and effort. The effort to go check the land out, to go check the property, or if you're building a property on it, you want to start a rental property, you have the money already. Let's assume you have the industry knowledge, you have the financing, right? Even if you don't have industry knowledge, you can pick somebody to give you the knowledge, you can leverage, right? So let's assume you have that. You have those two. It will still require your time and effort unless you want to throw your money in the river, right? You still need time and effort to know that you're buying the right thing. So when you look at real estate generally, it's enticing, right? There's potential there, but This barrier makes it quite difficult for guys that are in their early days of investing, right? I mean, you are in the process where you're trying to learn more about, if you're a developer, you're trying to learn more about, oh, I can write my code better, I can become a senior developer and all. At the same time, you're trying to make more money. Probably you're freelancing by the side. So obviously, you're not going to have the time and effort to invest in real estate, right? To go around checking properties, supervising guys that are building your property, your rental properties and all, right? So it makes it quite difficult to actually get into real estate, especially in Nigeria and in Africa. So for early stage investors, what are the best alternatives, right? What are the other ways that you can get into this asset class, make money from this asset class without actually exposing yourself to so much of those barriers, right? Finding your way around those barriers. What are the alternatives that will allow you to make money in real estate without getting your hands so dirty, right? So let's say you're somebody that you have a plan. I want to get real estate. I want to get a land. Then I'll build rental properties on it, probably a small estate. I rent it out. I start collecting rent, right? Then I expand. No matter how, you will need knowledge because you have to know the type of building to build that would be valuable in that city. You need financing. You need money to put everything together. And things are quite expensive now. And the third, you will need time and effort. Trust me, if you're building real estate property in Nigeria, you want to be on the ground. I mean, I've learned this the hard way. You want to be on the ground. This is a country where if you blink for 30 seconds, a bag of cement can disappear. Yeah, it's possible, right? This is a country where if you blink for 30 seconds, a bag of cement can disappear. And even when you, let's say you have the whole building set up, you have somebody's money for you, you still have to do repairs. You rent out properties, you have your tenants calling you, oh, something happened somewhere, there's something changing, I need somebody to come and fix this and all. You get. So you still have to do this management and all. So what are the alternatives that can allow you to skip all this and get to the money making part ASAP without going through the stress, right? So it's leverage. Leverage. So let me walk us through a brief of history. So there was a time that everything that I described here, the barriers that I described, were the regular thing in real estate. We are not ready to go through that. You are not getting into real estate business, right? Because you're not ready to manage property, you're not ready to service plumbing, to change a few things and all. You're not ready to make money from rentals, right? But at a certain point, a group of guys invested came up with an innovative idea, something completely out of the space, right? They thought, instead of, let's say we have a group of 100 friends or even classmates, right? Instead of all of us to start spending our time, our money, our energy, our knowledge, finding different properties, looking for different stuff, building different properties, everybody go do their stuff, right? Instead of us spending time that way on resources, why don't we leverage, right? Leverage, you want says, leverage by creating a trust, a real estate investment trust. So real estate investment trust basically is just, let's say the same scenario I gave, 100 people, they have a million, 100 people have a million each. They're thinking to start real estate. They're thinking there's no so much money to build a rental apartment. I don't have so much time. So let's say 100 of them thought, instead of us going through the stress, going through the barriers one by one, what if we all pull our 1 millions together and we have a pool of fund, a bag that is full of 100 million, right? 1 million multiplied by 100 makes 100 million. So by the time we put that money together, it sounds heavy. If I carry 100 million now and I say I want to get into real estate, trust me, if I'm in Lagos, the biggest boys in Lagos, they will come to my house because 100 million is not joking this economy, right? So they thought to do this, put this money together and appoint a few guys that would dedicate the time, the energy, the knowledge, right, to manage this money, use it to buy land, build properties, rent it out. We all want to do this, right? A lot of people want to do this, but we don't have enough money to do it. We don't have enough time to do it. So what if we put our money together, appoint a few guys that will manage it, execute this, and by the time they make money from rentals, from rentals, they'll pay us 90% of the profit back. So by the time they make money, so let's say they make, after the whole 1 year operation, they made 100 million back. That's double their capital. That's amazing investment, right? So at the end of the day, so let's say they found out that 70 million was the actual profit. What this is saying is, out of that 70 million, 90 million will be sent back to original investor as profit for them to spend to enjoy themselves. That is what is basically called real estate investment trust. And that was how real estate investment trust started. Can you still hear me clearly? I think Abdulaziz is having audio issue. Okay, can you hear me clearly? All right. All right, okay, great. All right, so I guess we can continue, right? So we can continue, just give me a 333 in the chat box. All right, okay, great. So this was how real estate investment trust was formed. So it was formed by this and was turned into a company. So let's assume we fund this 100 of us, or let's assume we are 100 on this space now. We decided to do this. So since we've all agreed, decided to turn this our agreement into a company that will do this on our behalf. And that's real estate investment trust, right? And that's the basic. It's a company that owns, finance, and run real estate property with the sole goal of generating income and giving 90% of it to investor. On that 90% side, it is mandated by the law. In US, it is mandated by the law that when a real estate investment trust make money, 90% of the profit goes to the investor. So you are sure that profit is coming to you, right? And why should you even consider this? I mean, this is an alternative to we getting our hands dirty, getting into real estate directly, right? Because we appointed a few guys to start doing it for us, right? The reason why you want to do this is 145 million US investors own real estate investment trust. So you might be missing out something, right? If you have 145 million owning this, then I don't know, maybe something that I should look at, right? And why should you look at it? I mean, earlier we stated that getting into real estate is actually like expensive, right? Especially on the money part. So that means if we on this call, 100 of us form this real estate investment trust, that means anybody that does not have up to 1 million on this call would not be able to join us, right? I mean, that's the reality. But it's not so, basically. Like I said earlier, if you look at this image, the way it works is all of us put money together, we put it in the company that is a real estate investment trust. The company buys assets, land, property, they run it with renters, and they bring profits, give us 90% of it, right? But how does it really work at its core? The way to work at its core is this. Have you ever wondered where Amazon got most of their factory from, or most of their warehouse? Right. If I tell you that most of these big corporations, they don't build their warehouses, some of their factories, they actually don't build them. What they do is they look for somebody that has built a very big warehouse that they can store their product or their raw materials in. They rent it from the person and they pay rent. So Amazon does pay rent. Amazon is paying real estate rent to somebody. And if you're on this call, I think you want the person Amazon is paying rent to, you want the person to be you, right? That's how real estate investment trust was. So let's say the real estate investment trust that we created now has a very nice building, and UBA is looking to expand to, let's say, one city that we have a nice building, and UBA does not want to build from scratch. They're like, what? We like this building. It fits the structure of our branches, right? So what if we rent this property from you and we get to pay you rent? That's exactly how real estate investment trust work. So they are not only into residential properties, they're into commercial properties like that. So most of these big corporations, they have big offices, big commercial offices, skyscrapers that are just office blocks, warehouses and all. Most of them are owned by real estate investment trust. And when the big corporations like Amazon, other guys pay their rent come to me, right? Because I own real estate investment trust. And that's how it works. So how can you get started in this? Even though you don't have so much money. But before we explore how you can get started, let's look at why you should even invest, right, in real estate investment trust, REIT. One, the first thing is diversification. Because we've created an entity that will run this operation on our behalf, that means the entity would have enough time, enough resources to not only develop one type of building, they can develop different type of building. So instead of me just using my 1 million to, let's say, hypothetically build a 2-bedroom flat, I can use my one, we can use our 100 million to build several 2-bedroom flats, build nice hotels, build office building, shop and complexes, and different things, malls and all. So that means we're able to get into different sector of real estate, different aspect of real estate, and can make money from different areas of real estate, residential, commercial, talk about it, right? So that's one thing that real estate investment trust exposes you to. Because unless you have so huge capital that you can tie down 10 million somewhere, let's say in building office block, 5 million in building 2-bedroom flats, another 50 million in building an hospital building, you can't get income from different areas of real estate. And this is where real estate investment trust comes in, right? Then the next thing is price stability. Because you actually have money in a business, you're not bothered like crypto, like stock, oh, this thing is coming down, this is going up, this is, you're not concerned about that because you know that your actual money is not in one Ponzi scheme. Your money is in a real estate property, is in one estate, is in one this and all. You know that you are stable, right? The other thing is high return. It's just like pure real estate because what our business practically is just running properties and getting returns, right? Our, 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 our business is just running properties. We are making as high as anybody will make in real estate. We're able to make as high as anybody is making in real estate, right? And we can flip as well. And also we are making as high as anybody can make by investing directly in real estate. Then the next thing is convenience, which is like one of the best thing, right? Because 100 of us don't get to run the stuff by ourselves. We appointed 5 people that's running for us. Honestly, the 5 people that are running for us might not even be part of us. We might just hire 5 guys to go running for us, right? And we supervise them at sometimes. We have the convenience of doing other things with our time. You don't have to stand in the sun, stand at the sites where they are still building your property or something, right? Then the next thing is liquidity. Because you have so much people that have money in one place, it makes it easy for you to pull out your money and put it back inside very fast. Let me paint this example, right? So let's say you buy a real estate property now. Let's say a land, for example. If you want to sell your land, if you buy it, if you're holding it for a few times, if you want to sell it, the minimum risk to take is 2 months. If you're in a very hot zone, a month, 2 months before you get to sell it. But when it comes to real estate investment trust, you can have real estate investment trust now, and I can sell it while on this call, and I get credited while on this call. And that thing is, if you want to get in, so let's say you want to buy a land now, it will take you, today's Saturday, right? Today's Sunday. You bring up a real estate agent now, they will tell you to wait till Monday. Then you guys will go for an inspection and stuff like that. Then you probably take a couple of weeks before you seal the deal and confirm that everything is in right position, right? But when it comes to real estate investment trust, I can buy real estate investment trust before we end this call. So liquidity. ability to get in and get out is very fast. So your money is not tied down so much that you have to wait when you have extreme emergency or when you want to liquidate, get out of that asset. Then the last thing, which is the most important thing for people that know me, is freedom. It gives you so much freedom that you don't have to know so much. You don't have to acquire so much money to get started. And you still get to enjoy all the benefit of the normal real estate, right? What makes sense than that? So for me, I feel like it's an amazing way to actually get into real estate, right? And what are the types of real estate investment trusts that we have? So like we said, revenue is one important thing. So real estate investment trusts are categorized by revenue, basically. One, we have equity real estate investment trust, which means the company, the entity, owned properties. We own the property, we manage them, and we get our revenue from the rent that the tenants pay. We can get to sell the property later, but our primary concern is owning the property, holding them to get to our rent and generate revenue. That's real estate. That's equity real estate, and we pay 90% to an investor. Then the next thing is mortgage real estate investment trust. This simply means instead of holding property, building property, just for somebody that wants to build. So let's say we have 100 million together as a pool, right? As pool of investor, and we know somebody like, okay, anytime we find someone that wants to build real estate, that wants to, let's say, a civil servant that has a full-time job that wants to build their house, we'll borrow them money and they'll pay interest. And we will be making our revenue from the interest they are paying on the money. That is mortgage real estate investment trust. Then we now have hybrid real estate investment trust. Those are the crazy guys. Jack of all trades. They do both. They borrow money out, get interest, they make money. They hold property, rent it out, they make money. Those are the crazy type of real estate investment trust, right? So now let's get to nature of it, right? And right after we'll get to what the average return is, right? So what are the natures of real estate investment trust? One, we have the public traded, and we have public non-traded, and we have the private. So let me break it down to us in this way. Public traded are the ones that we say we have created a pool of 100 million, and anybody in the public can join us, right? While everybody knows that we run this business and anybody can join us to invest, right? Then another thing is the other part, which is public non-traded real estate investment, is everybody knows that we are running this business, but we don't want money from anybody. We're just doing our own business. Generally, nobody's bringing money into our business. That's public non-traded real estate investment trust. That means you cannot easily buy into it. The traded one is you can buy into it anytime. Then the private real estate investment trust, those are the craziest nature. Those are the ones that the big guys, the millionaires in dollars run, because this real estate investment trust started with them actually. So they still run it in private groups. So let's say out of all 100 people here, we have one big OG, few of them, about 7, they have like 30 million. They just said, people that have 30 million, fall to one side. Let's go and invest our own money separately. These are the private real estate investment trust. There's nothing different. There's nothing different, right? They do the same thing, but they just do it in their own private WhatsApp group. Nobody knows about it. They do it, they make their money, they go to Arista Africana, right? Those are the private real estate investment trust. So to the good part, what are the average return, right? What's the average return? I mean, we said this is quite close to investing in real estate directly, right? So what are the average return? So before we go deep into that, if you're still with me, drop a 444 in the chat to ensure that we're still getting it. If you like, you understand everything I've been saying so far, do me a 444 in the chat so we can continue. Right. Okay, I have one. Look like 1%, 2, 3, 4. Let me have 5 and we can. Oh, interesting. All right, great. Oh, thank you. Superb. All right, we can move forward. So what is the average return? You know, we said it's quite close to real estate, right? It's quite close to you owning the property directly in your name. This time around, you're not owning the money, you're not owning the property in your own name. When you're investing in real estate investment trust, you own the property, but it's not in your name. And in real estate investment trust, you don't own the whole property, you own a bit of it. So let's say the property is worth 100 million. The property you invested in is worth 100 million, right? Because you contributed 1 million, that means you own 1/100 of the property, right? But what's now the return if you engage in such transaction compared to you going to your village or your town and buying your own land, building it, renting it out to somebody that is your mommy's daughter, kinikon, they get what's the return? Generally, we'll explore what returns look like in real estate. Then we'll double down on real estate investment trust, right? So according to S&P 500, it's just like an index that tracks 500 global company, right? Top-notch guys. So that index is saying that annual return on real estate investment in USA is 10.6%. So if you invest in real estate, for guys that invest in real estate in US, you get about 10.6% minimum. There are guys that are doing crazy than that. Probably guys that are flipping property. You buy it today, you make a little bit of adjustment, find someone that needs the property tomorrow, sell it, you make your money, you get out very fast. But averagely, you can make 10.6%, right? Then when you look at commercial real estate property, the average return is a little bit lower, it's around 9.5, right? But when you look at real estate investment trust, this is the irony. When you look at real estate investment trust, you can get 11.6%, 11.8%, pardon me. It's quite funny, right? Because somebody that is getting to do the heavy lifting, doing it by yourself, you're making 10.6%, you're making 9.5%, and somebody that is just leveraging, not even doing the looking around for property and or signing the contract and everything, is making 11.8%. I think this is where that adage that says if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with other people. That's really like it's very practical. A real estate investment trust is going far because it has averagely higher return than even the normal real estate. Not because it performed better, they are doing the same operation, but it's just that it's a completely different operation when we have professionals managing properties with the sole aim of producing profit than one person that is doing his real estate business. You'll still be learning. You have learning curves, right? Which is why you probably be losing at some early stage. Things will not be like so rosy and all. So we do know what an average return look like in real estate, right? So with this, let's make a basic comparison, a very practical one. Like I said earlier, let's not lie to ourselves. If it's not working, we can all just agree on this webinar that what Olufemi like called everybody for didn't work. We all agree that it didn't work. Then we move on, right? So let's look at a practical example. Let's say you're starting with, pardon the exchange rate here. So let's say you're starting with a capital of $10,000. At the time, $10,000 was 5 million, right? I was intending to write 15 million, but things happen, right? So then you're starting with that capital and you're investing. Two scenarios, two different investors. In Nigeria, one person is investing $10,000 to build a 2-bedroom flat, like very good, well furnished, good to the extent that you can rent it out and start making renters, right? You look at the first scenario at the top, it will cost it about $10,000 to produce that. Then your annual rent will be around 500, right? That's about 5%. You can get 5, 10, depends on the area, right? Let's say averagely, this is what your returns will look like. And by the way, the number above were verified by guys that are in the business, right? Then when you look at real estate investment trust, if you invest in real estate investment trust with the same starting capital, you can be getting this 475.7, and your ROI will be pretty close to somebody that stayed in the sun for 2 months to get his property up. I mean, if you are me, if I'm you, which one would you go for? I mean, that with me. Let me know which one will you go for. Right. Let's type it in the chat box. Which one would you go for? Let's ask ourselves that question with this thing right on the screen. Right? You can see the numbers. Numbers don't lie. Right? You can verify it. There are real estate that gives 4.7, 4 point, above even 5. Right? If you are you, you are me. Which one would you go for? I mean, guys, let's be very sincere here. Maybe I'm saying the wrong number, right? Maybe I'm thinking from the wrong perspective. Anybody want to go for that? Let's.
I'm going for rate, of course. I'm going for the second option.
Because I can do less and get close to what you are making, right? I mean, I don't mind
Yeah.
sacrificing. Yeah, you're with me. I don't mind sacrificing 0.3% to stay in my house, not stay in the sun, not be counting cement, not be counting wood, and I make the same money, right? Who not like better life, right? So I mean, that's one of the reasons why Messi Alavi is even saying, "Easy money, please. Let's work smart this year." I mean, so I think we all agree on this, right? So that means it's a good investment that you can put your money into. But the killer part is the 1 million case scenario that we've been using for everybody. We don't even need the 1 million. You can start today. It as low as $1. I mean, the flyer said $10, right? But I lied. You can start with $1. Yeah, I'm serious. Let me show you. So how to get started with $10? Right. Okay. Okay. Getting started with $10 is very easy and it's practical, right? I'm going to like show us. So if you have your pen and paper, you might need to like write some things down because they are not on the slide. So the way it works is because we've created our business, a real estate investment trust. Let's name it, I don't know. What can we name it? Okay, let's name it Sabino's Real Estate Investment Trust. If you name it that, what we want to do now is to ensure that tomorrow somebody will not wake up. Olumide will not wake up. Messi will not wake up and say, I dropped 10 million. When we all know that we dropped 1 million. We want to turn it into a company. So our goal now is we turn it into a company and put it on the stock market. So putting it on the stock market, it becomes a public real estate investment trust. But better, instead of us making it public that way, we are saying we'll make it public and make it publicly traded. That simply means our business, Sabino's Real Estate Investment Trust, will be on the stock market. Let's say New York stock market now. We'll be on the New York stock market. We started it originally. We have 1 million there. But now what we are saying is we can get anybody that is interested in our business to join us and they can buy into it. And they can buy as low as $1 worth of our business. You can invest as low as $1 into our business, right? Because we are creating a company generally, apart from what everybody does online, that they do business name registration. There's something called incorporation. That's a place where, I mean, I can remember being, I can remember being in, that should be economics or so, or government class with Olumide, where we learned legal entity, how a business can become a legal entity and they can sue the business, the business can sue somebody. I remember that, I can remember perfectly, right? So the moment we incorporate our business, we turn it to a legal entity on itself. And as that point, it is broken into different parts. Just like we have a human entity that has leg and small parts, small eyeballs, cells. So our entirety is made up of cells, right? So imagine the company itself is a legal entity, is a human being that has cells like that. And we initially, we have done the heavy work of putting the company together. The company is alive now, right? We saw 1 million contribution from 100 people. Now we put it on the stock exchange. We are not saying anybody that is interested can partner with us so that we can expand our operation and make money. And the person can buy as small as one cell in the body of our business. I mean, if you did biology, you understand this, right? Cell is like the smallest, right? You can buy one cell in the body of our company. And that is how you can get into real estate investment trust and into real estate itself with as low as $10. Like you can get in as $1, right? So that is it basically. And to get it started is as simple as this. I said earlier that when we form the company, we put it on the stock exchange. So that means anybody that wants to buy can invest in our company through the stock exchange, right? So if you've been following me for a while, I think last month we had a webinar on stock exchange. So if you want to know about stock market and all, can go like hit me up and we'd get you started. There's recording of that. It makes it easy for you to understand. It's Stock 101, right? So because we've started our company, we've incorporated it, we'll put it on the stock exchange. That means anybody that wants to get into real estate investment trust, that wants to get into real estate with REIT, just need to go to the stock market and buy bits of our company, right? And that's how you can get, and that's your ticket into getting into real estate. So you don't need to go to US to own a part of US real estate, right? I don't need to go to US. I don't need to have a UK visa to own properties in UK to benefit from the real estate market of UK of US, right? I can be here in Nigeria and be making profit in dollars, making revenue in dollar monthly by owning REIT investments, because automatically our REIT owns property in US, UK, and all. So how can you get it started? To get it started, what you do is first look for a broker. A broker is anybody that can give you access into the stock market, because you can't go directly by yourself unless you have some crazy capital like 100 million above, which was what we are trying to avoid initially. So you need a broker that can take your $10 to the stock market and buy a little bit of Sabino's real estate investment trust, right? So, and when it comes to that, we have a lot of options for guys in Africa, right? We have Chaka, we have Rise Invest, you have Kuda, how did Kuda come in? We have Bamboo, right? So any
I was
platform.
wondering how that came into.
What's
I
it?
don't think that I was wondering how could that came into this.
Yeah, I think that was an error. Right. So you can use this, guys, any investment platform that give you access to the stock market. You can use it to buy real estate. So the minute you do that, you download the platform. What you do is go register your account, create an account, verify yourself. You have verified, you have a funding account, put $10 in the account. And I said earlier that I lied, that $10 is not the minimum. You can do it with $1. The reason why $10 seems to be like the minimum is most of this platform, when you want to fund them because of policy and all, most of them, the minimum they will require for you to fund with is always $10, which is why the minimum you would need is $10. But technically, you can start with $1, right? So when you have that, you have your account verified, you have an investment account. You fund the account with as low as $10, right? And once you have your account funded with $10, you begin your investment journey as an investor, right? Look for real estate investment trust that fit your goal, right? Anybody that was in the stock investing 101 class webinar, we discussed something around dividends and growth, right? So the way it is when you want to invest in any investment as an investor, there's a question you ask yourself: what do I want? Do I want money to be coming in every month, every quarter? Like I just want somebody to be paying me, right? Or do I want to put my money somewhere and I want it to grow to a certain point and I withdraw it in cash at once? So those two scenarios is what's called dividend investing or cash flow investing, dividends or cash flow, and growth investing or capital appreciation. So once you know what you want, go search. Google is your friend. Real estate investment that gives dividends. Real estate investment that gives growth. You read a little bit about them, you learn more, right? And you get to decide. I mean, by the way, the same principle that apply to choosing stock applies to when you're screening for real estate investment trust, because they are still a company as well. So you can use some of the strategies we learned in the stock investing 101, apply it here, it still works when you're doing research. So when you know what you want, you can now start to order. You can order, right? Place your order, and now, my dear people, you're an investor in real estate without even getting into US. You can have real estate investment trust in US. You can have properties that you are technically renting out in real estate in US, and they are paying you rent. I mean, I've had interesting scenarios, right? There was a time that I was jogging very early in the morning at 6 a.m. I just saw a credit alert, a notification like so has been credited into your account. I'm like, hold on. Nobody owe me money. Oh. Last time I checked, if I said they owe myself money, right? Then I got to check it while I was jogging. It was a real estate investment trust that I invested in. Luckily, they pay me monthly, right? So because rent is collected even weekly there, right? So they pay me monthly, and I got the credit. And I was like, wow, this makes sense. I'm in Nigeria. Somebody's paying rent in US, and I'm getting paid. That makes sense superbly, right? So if you agree with me that that makes sense, just give me a 555 in the chat before I show you this. Give me 555. You think that makes sense? If you think that makes sense, right? You can be in Nigeria, you get paid from somebody that is paying rent in US and UK. You think that makes sense? Give me 555. Okay, I think we all agree that it makes sense, right? A bunch of us agree that it makes sense. All right, amazing, 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 right? So that is one of the easiest way to get into real estate. Is as low as $10. I've shown us that. But beyond that, what are other deals that we can find that we can get into real estate easily without the same way, without doing heavy work? You know, from what we've been learning earlier, we know that, oh, somebody can go do the activities for us. We just sit down in our house behind our laptop and be enjoying, right? Innovation is coming up. Guys are doing amazing things, right? There's a platform called PiggyVest, by the way. PiggyVest did not sponsor this webinar. I'm not affiliated with them. It's just that when I find good things, I like to share, especially when it's money. And it doesn't cost me money, right? I like to share. So just like the way real estate investment trust, right, work, there are now real estate company in Nigeria. They are looking to create big properties, and they're looking for investors like us that don't have a million, 10 million, 15 million to get started in real estate. But we have 15K, we have 10K, we have 5,000, right? And if they put 5,000 together from 100 of us, 100,000 of us, we can make that heavy 250 million needed for a real estate project in Lagos. Yeah, and those kind of deals are easy to find around if you know where to look. And knowing where to look is leveraging platforms that we see every day. There's a platform called PiggyVest. If you download PiggyVest now, you see this exact same screen that I'm showing you on PiggyVest, right? Currently, there's a deal there. He has about how many units? Let me give me a minute. Let me confirm what is left there. If people don't buy and finish it, because guys have money in this country, which we must not underestimate them, especially that Olumide and Triumph. From the first day I met them, those guys, I'm watching their back. All right, great. Okay, so currently, yeah, so currently we have about how many units left? I think about 30-20% of it is already sold. So this property, this deal that is available is just like what we explain in real estate investment trust. You can do the same thing, but now you're doing it in a business, in a real estate company that is in Nigeria. And this company has actually been verified by a registered and reliable entity, which is PiggyVest. So people go do, let's say you're running business now, you need crazy capital, or you've done it before, you just want to expand. You can take your nice business, take it to PiggyVest. They'll vest it for you. They'll put it on their platform, and investors can get to buy from you. It can go from farming to engineering to real estate to transport, anything. So when you use platform like this, you can easily get deals of 5,000. So when I see people asking me, well, for me, what can I invest 5,000 into? I'm like, you have to give based on your phone. The only thing you do is just save. Just look at the investment side. You can put your 5,000. I mean, right? So this particular deal, the reason why I picked this deal to show us is because it's even a real estate deal, right? And what they're looking to raise is about 198,000 shares of it. So what that company is looking to raise, 198,000 multiplied by 15,000 is about 2 point something or billion or so, right? 200 and something million, right? They are looking to raise that to build a real estate property and rent it out in Lagos. You can see Lekki, Lagos. So imagine the big guys in Lekki, in the next 2 years, the house they are paying, the house they are living, the rent they are paying is coming to you in Akure, in Ekiti, in Abuja, or anywhere you are. So this is another deal that you can get into for as low as 15,000 naira. I'm very sure before the end of this month, you can gather 15,000 and invest, right? So these are the deals that we can invest into in real estate, right? It's as simple as you just have to know. Triumph said, and I'm using PiggyVest. Interesting, right? So these are the deals that you can look into, right? If you know where to look, you can always get into small deals. You just have to know where to look. You can always find information that gives you access where everybody's looking. You can find an amazing deal there. Like I just wake up randomly, go to PiggyVest, check their deals. You know the funniest thing is, most of the time on PiggyVest, most of the deals that are available on PiggyVest, they're always like sold out. This is the only one that has not been sold out in like 2 weeks because it's heavy, right? And you want to be sure that you put 30,000, 15,000 in this and you can make money, right? So, I mean, this is interesting, right? So, all right. So, this is the point where I think I've done a good job, where I get to take questions from everybody and make it like very, very practical. So, if you have done a good job, I've shown you something that you didn't know before. You found value in the last 1 hour, 20 minutes. Please drop a 10, 10, 10 for me. Yeah, drop a 10, 10 for me. Let me know that I've done something. I'll show you something, right? So now, anybody that wants to ask a question, you can, let's make it interactive now. We've done the teaching and all. Let's make it interactive now. Let's get our hands dirty a little
Yeah.
bit.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. It's about PiggyVest though.
Right.
This available offers there about those real estate. I read the terms and conditions and stuff. I was a little bit discouraged. I mean,
Why?
safety reason. You know how real estate is. There will be some
Yeah.
times when there's too much bubbles and people won't buy or something like that. So I
Yeah.
was shocked when I saw those offers still available too. Because unlike before, it
It's
used to be
always sold
very
out.
packed. It's always sold out. But this time
Yeah.
around, it's been there very well,
So if you
which made
notice
me
something, right? Let me put this on there. If you notice something, if you've been tracking this particular investment, you notice that 2 weeks ago, it was around 10% of the funds of the investment that has actually been purchased. As of now, it's closing to 20, 25%. People are still buying it. And the reason why it looks like that is if I'm looking to sell 198,000 pieces of something, that takes a while, right? Right. And another thing is most of the investments on PiggyVest, they always start from 5,000. So it's easy for everybody to just buy it. But now, where somebody would buy three before, 5,000 in three places, you only get to buy one. So most of it's probably taking a bit of capital, right? But it's amazing. It's vetted, just like you can always see there, vetted deals. So really, Piggyvest is an insured company, right? They ensure that they give you things that are very vetted. And the reason why I think, to address your question around bubble, right? There are bubbles around stuff, right? But one thing you want to check is the plan. If the plan was to buy, to develop and sell, I would say there's risk around it, right? Everything has risk, right? I would say, what if they don't get to sell all the properties? But now
Exactly.
there's a place. What they want to do is they want to develop and rent out. There's one thing that I know about Lagos. There is always people moving in. Somebody looking to rent an house, somebody looking to rent an apartment, especially on Lekki. You see me and you, come closer. Do you think anybody will not rent that apartment? I'm asking you a question. Right. So for me, what I would say is, my remark is, it's an amazing deal. You should take like advantage of the opportunity. Right. Right. So do you have any other question? If you can unmute yourself, you can drop it in the chat box. Right. All right. All right. All right. So if you got everything completely correct, you understand perfectly everything about REIT investment trust, give me 777 in the chat box so I know that you understand that. Right. Okay, great. 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 So you understand it. You can explain it to somebody. You can explain it to that your neighbor that did not show up for the webinar. Give me 777. All right, great, 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 great. Interesting. Okay, you have a question. Try and please go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Chris. Thank you so much for today's class. So my question is quite small. I know you've already said that we can easily Google to find out like information about REITs that is available. But
Yeah.
I know that all these kind of things, they're usually like dedicated platforms where you can read about stuff like stocks and REITs. So I'm asking if you can share some with us, probably in the upcoming newsletter, like resources where we can read on this, what kind of reads to
Okay.
buy or invest in.
All right, great. Okay. So since you already requested now, there are platform you can check. One, the first best platform is Google. Then the second best platform is um investing.com, right? What you just need to do is just search investing.com, search REIT. You see a lot of REIT properties company that are available. You can read about them, check their level of returns and all, right? You can get to know more about them. Then, like you said, in the subsequent webinar, in the subsequent newsletter, I will dedicate some weekly check-ins, like I've done before, where I would like create a list of RIT, the ones I've invested in, the one I am still considering, that I feel like, oh, you can put money into. I mean, that was Friday, right? I was having a conversation with one of my mentor for business analysis in UK. So I was asking him, what do you invest in? Do you prefer direct real estate in UK, as for someone that's in UK, right? Just to verify more information for guys that are coming on this webinar. I was like, between direct investment in properties and real estate investment, what do you think is like the best for you there? He said the same thing that we said on the call is what he said. He said he prefers real estate investment trust because it doesn't have to look for property. He has a full-time business analysis job, right? It doesn't have to look for property, right? It's a good way to get in, and when you get to a certain point, you can start to make your hands like really, really dirty and get into it. So what I would do is I would dedicate at least for the next 2 weeks, I would dedicate at least 2 emails to send it out and give us more information, create resources that we can share, right? So we can learn more from it and can get to really do it by ourselves, right? Did I answer your question perfectly?
Yes, you did. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So do we have any other person that want to ask a question? So while we're thinking about our question, right, I came about an interesting, right? An interesting company, right? Although they're still building, so they're creating something like real estate investment trust, right? Like something on Piggyvest. So this company, they've been operating for about 3 years. what they've been doing is they've been doing shortlet. If anybody knows about shortlet, it's another way of making money in real estate. You look for guys that you look for apartments that people are probably not using during weekend. You get to make a deal with the owner. You have guys coming into places like Lagos or any other city for weekend party, for weekend event. You get to rent it out to them, shortlet, a day, 2 days, and all, and you get paid for it. Share the profits with. It's just like some kind of Airbnb, right? So I met some guys. I'm still doing my due diligence on them, which has been going quite all right. So I'm still going to share this with us in the subsequent emails and resources I'll be sharing. So what they are trying to do is they're trying to democratize what they've been doing. They've been doing shortlets for a long time, and they feel like other guys like us that we have 5,000, 10,000 should put money into it so that we can make money from shortlet. I mean, if you see one body that's shaking whatever they're shaking in one Lekki house in the shortlet apartment, what if you were getting paid from that? I mean, there was a time that we went to Lagos and we went to a real estate apartment. It was like a shortlet. Said 150,000 per day. I'm like, wow, that's my rent for like a year. Man, it's interesting. So I came across them. I'm doing my due diligence, right? So once I have more information on them, and I feel like they are worth considering, I'm definitely going to share with us, right? So I'm going to share with us, and we all can consider it and make our own decision and do it by ourselves, right? So let's go for more questions. Let's go for more questions, right? All right. So is there any other person that have question? You want to raise their hand? You want to ask question? Right. So let's have questions. I really would like us to ask more like so much question. Am I that good at explaining things? I don't know. That we don't have question, or I've confused us like perfectly, right? Which one?
Okay, good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening. I don't know if I am clearly.
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. Good evening. How you doing?
Okay, I'm fine. Thank you so much for everything thus far. So, primarily, for one, I've always wanted to own a property to myself, to my name, right? So, I see this platform as a good one. I mean, REIT. So,
Yeah.
basically, even with that, I still want to have a property with my name on it, right?
Yeah,
So,
that's
like,
amazing.
yeah, so I just want to know, is there like a point in time when you know that okay, this is the best time to start investing personally? I mean, you said the energy has to be there, you have to be there physically, you have to be there financially, blah blah blah, in every aspect, right? So is there a specific time that you can say, okay, at this point in time when you've invested in RIPS, you already started making money, blah blah blah. This is the point where you can now start looking towards investing in physical properties that I mean like you can
Okay.
see and you can actually buy, build and the like. So that's my question. Thank you very much.
All right, great. That's an amazing question. That's an amazing. Thank you very much for that question. So for me, one thing I've discovered, right, from my experience in putting money in real estate, both sides, different side, is that sometimes we get so early into being sold on the narrative of land banking that we'll forget that at some point in our life, it's not all investments that are fitted for us perfectly, right? So I've done land banking, I've done different things, I've done real estate investment trust. But one thing I found out is when you're starting out and you want to start investing early, you don't want to wait till when you get to that job that's paying you 800K, that you can save 300,000 or 400,000 for like 2 months, go buy a property for 1 million or 2 million. The best place you want to get started is real estate investment trust. Even if you're earning 50K, 30K, right? So when you get started with this, one thing I've tried to test is, and I've tested is that you can get started, accumulate your capital because you can always put money in something and it pays you. You can accumulate your capital with real estate investment trust. Then when you get to a point, just like you said, you can switch into regular property. Yeah, that's possible, right? And to know when you can do that, although what I would do is advise you, instead of switching, I will advise you is go look for another money. If you have a real estate investment trust, the portfolio is doing amazing. Go look for another money. If you want to own physical real estate property, go make more money, and buy that property. But to know when you should do that, I think there are two things you should consider. In the very early stage of your life, one thing you don't want to do is in this age where things are so fluid, like I can wake up tomorrow, plans can change tomorrow, and I feel like I want to move to Dubai, right? But when I'm moving to Dubai, I'll be concerned about I have a property in so and so. I will need my sibling, my brother, my uncle, my somebody to go check them, right? So that's one thing I've figured out, that if you start very early and you own properties like that, you will need people to check up on you, check it up for you, right? But if you own real estate investment trust, the evidence that I own it is on my phone. As long as I don't lose my password, even if I lose my password, as long as I have my email, I can chat up Chaka now and they reset my password as long as I can provide evidence that I'm me, right? And I can have a portfolio of real estate investment trust worth 1 million. And I can decide to travel out of the country, go study, go do my master's, go do my MBA somewhere. And I wouldn't be bothered about an asset tying me down somewhere, right? So that's the pretty part of it. So to know when you can actually move into practical real estate, into direct real estate, I think one thing that will really determine that is one, money. I would say money is the primary thing. The moment you have enough, even if you don't have the industry experience, you can always pay reliable real estate developers to handle it for you, right? Even if you don't have the time, you can pay reliable real estate developer to develop quality real estate for you. But the basic thing is you must have that solid cash. And when it comes to real estate investing, physical investing in real estate, one thing I've learned is you must have a source of income, a bundle of cash that you can pour in, right? If you, especially when you're building property, because from the day you start foundation, there's something else to pay for, there's something else to pay for somewhere, right? While if there's somebody, let's say a double ganger or your twin now, who start with the same amount, I will not be bothered, right? And this person is still getting paid monthly, right? I mean, it just depends. So I will not say there's a particular time. I just feel like when you feel like you have that resource, enough capital that you put your hand in deep physical real estate, then you're ready, right? So, and another thing you can do is you can say part of your real estate investment portfolio is let's say it's worth 1 million. You're saying when I grow it to, you can set the target for yourself. I want to be putting 200k, 100k in this. By the time I grow my portfolio to 2 million, I'm going to liquidate 50% of my portfolio and put it in land. That works as well, right? You see, there's multiple ways to skin a cat. It's all about finding what works for you, right? And making the best decision based on your plans. Did I answer your question perfectly, Mercy?
Yes, you did. Thank you very much.
All
Yes,
right, you're
yes,
welcome.
yes. I have another question.
All right, go ahead. Go for it.
So, there's this like thing, I don't know, but people have like been coming up with real estate, buying land, paying small, small, blah, 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 student parking, white parking, this is that, right? So basically, I don't know. There was a time that I wanted to start. So I can't remember why I did not start, but I really wanted to start at some point. So
Yeah,
what do you think about that? Like investing in that kind of property?
buying is
Because
most.
yes, buying pay not buying but actually paying month monthly
Paying it like
you yes, you pay
that.
completely and finally acquire the property.
Okay, so for me, I don't feel like it's an amazing thing. It gives people easy access to get into real estate, to own properties, especially I think it's mostly done for lands, right? So I think for me, it's actually pretty cool. But if I'm supposed to give you my personal opinion, I know how real estate work. So let me break it down to you. What these people do is, what I have to do is go buy 10 acres somewhere, put a very nice gate there, put a name on it. I can say Mercy Estate. This is an amazing estate. There's going to be a mall inside. There's going to be this and this inside. I'll sell it to 500 people. I only have limited plots there. I can sell it to 500 people. Tell them to be paying small, paying bit by bit, paying 50K. By the time they pay enough, I gather their money again, go buy another estate. Name it Triumph Estate. Sell to another 500 people. Gather their small money, go buy another estate. I keep on expanding that way. I keep on using their money as the capital to fuel my business. That's why you see that most time, until you're done paying, and probably a few months after you're done paying, even though quarters, they don't get to assign property to you, right? Because that's how the system works. And as much as I feel like it's cool, I feel like for me, if I'm putting money down, I prefer to put that bit into real estate investment trust and get somebody pay me interest in dollar. Trust me, no matter how high the real estate value is jumping, you can't beat dollar, especially if it is in naira. So you're buying a property, you're telling me somebody that is buying a property in naira today, paying bit by bit, 50,000, 100,000, is going to beat me that I'm investing in real estate investment trust dollar and getting paid dividends per month, and I'm compounding the dividends every single month. You can't beat me. I'm definitely sure of that. Because before you get assigned a land that I can even start to build on, unless you can even resell, I'm already generating cash flow, right? Before you even think of saying you have a certificate for a land, I'm generating cash flow, baby. And that is the power of knowing how to be strategic with your investment, knowing what works for you. For some people, that works for them. It gives them something to chase. But for me, I feel like I can be chasing that. I know the price of what I want. Put it in real estate investment trust. This is the goal. I want my real estate investment portfolio to reach 3 million. By the time it reaches 3 million, I'll liquidate half, go buy a land. To me, that's an amazing deal, because two things: you learn to leverage, you hedge your investment against inflation, right? Because if you buy a land, Nigeria, by the time you want to convert back to dollar, I need to explain that inflation part to us and the dollar exchange rate. So I'm beating inflation, I'm beating dollar exchange rates. The second part is I'm compounding. While somebody is waiting for allocation day, I'm already making cash flow and I'm compounding my cash flow. And if there's one thing about investing, one crazy thing, according to Albert Einstein, that said one of the wonders of the world that I feel like is one of the best wonders of the world that we invented as a human is the concept of compound interest. So before you even get to hold your papers that you own a land, I'm already compounding my investment. Trust me, the graph is going to be crazy. Right. So that's my personal perspective on it. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, yes, it did. Thank you so much.
All right. You're welcome.
It's a
Right.
nice day for me. That's sorry.
So
Okay. So,
you have another question? Do you have
I
another
don't know.
question?
Your answers keep making me feel like I have another question. I
All
actually
right.
have another question.
If anybody is not opening the floor, you can shoot for it.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. So basically, REITs is more or less like every other investment
Yeah.
scheme, right? You put in your money, get an interest. Your money is still there, keeps making money for you. You buy
Yeah.
more, get interest. Your money is still there. Okay, so that's what I wanted to confirm. I don't know. I missed it. I don't know if you said it in between, but I missed that part. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank
I said that. So, uh, okay, let me put it this way. Yeah, just like Karen said that some real estate investment trust that you can consider, right? Let me give you an example. There's something called realty homes. Yeah, realty property. The type of is a real estate investment trust that you can invest in. Their returns is around 4.75%. One thing about them is why I like them so much is it makes the entire thing practical, like I actually own a real estate property, right? So if I invest in them today, next month, I'll get credited cash flow. And I feel like that makes it interesting because by the time I get the credited cash flow now, so let's say I invested 100K, just hypothetically, right? You have to do your research and to confirm the figure. So let's say hypothetically, I invested $100 and I get paid, let's say $10 in cash flow next month. I can put the $10 in buying more of the same reality home. So the following month, my starting capital will not be 100 again, it will be 110. So by the time they are paying me interest, compounding has kicked in. And they'll be paying me interest, they'll pay me cash from the rent based on the 110 that I now own in the business. The following month, they pay me another 10. Let's say it's, at that point, it's probably 11 point something. The following month, I had the 11 point something to the 110. It becomes 121. Then the month that follows, I get to earn interest and dividends on 121 point something. I do that again. If I keep doing that, especially that is in dollar, compared to somebody that is paying 100K per month to somebody and does not even know where his property is, you cannot even point to my property is in XYZ. So that's what I was trying to like explain initially. Did you get it perfect? So you can make interest, you can compound, and you can get cash flow from real estate investment properties. Right. All right, great. Okay, so I think we've done an amazing thing this night. We had an exciting time. So before we leave, right, if you thought that you gained value in this space, right, and you would want some other guys to also learn from what you've learned, you get to take hold of your finances like you have taken a step today, I would like you to drop a feedback, pick up your phone, pick up your gadget, right, drop a feedback in the chat section if you really learned something. If you didn't learn anything, you can drop it there also that you didn't learn anything, that you want to learn more of this and this. But I would love you to drop a feedback, right? It's a free time, not paid, right? And you get to learn. I get to show you how it works, and more will follow with the resources, right? So just drop me a feedback, what you learned, anything that you like to learn more, right, about investing and personal finance, right? Pick up your phone, pick up your gadget, drop me feedback, right? Let's get better with this because I don't believe, apart from sharing for free, right? Apart from teaching us to get hold of our finances without being charged, I believe that even though I'm doing it at the free basis, they still need to get better, right? To get people to learn more. So it's from our feedbacks that we'll get to learn. Funny enough, this session is coming from a feedback from the community because people said, "Oh, let's have this thing again. Let's have this. Let's learn again." So it was a feedback that created what we are having now. So drop feedback. All right, guys, let's have the feedback. All right. So we still have questions. We can still take questions before we close the space. All right. If we still have questions, we can still take the questions before we close the space. All right. Is anybody on this space? I'm not seeing feedback. Oh, look like, oh, I've seen some. Okay, I've seen your feedback. Mercy, I've seen your feedback. All right, great. I'm glad that you've understood better now. That's amazing. Right. All right. During the entire space, right, I mentioned some things around, getting to invest in real estate and all, right. So if you do want to invest in real estate, right, and you think this is a good place to start, drop a feedback. And during the webinar, during the course of our conversation, I've dropped some hint around, some things in RIT, when you're looking for them, we are selecting them, we are making analysis. It's quite similar to stock investing and all. So if you would love to get to invest in stock or you want to learn more about stock, we had a webinar, I think that was about a month, not up to a month, 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks ago. So if you'd love to join, I'll be dropping a link now where you can get to like catch up on that webinar, right? It's an amazing time. I mean, guys that were there, they can tell you that it was an amazing thing. You can learn the basics of stock investing at the basics from there. So I'm going to be dropping the link while I'm waiting for us to drop our feedback. Oh, Raymond, I'm very sure you get the recording. Yeah, but it's nice to know that it was valuable to you. All right, all right, all right. Okay, great. All right, so let's drop our feedback. Guys, don't drop out of this page without dropping your feedback, because I still have something to share. I still have something to share for us, so don't drop out of this page until you share your feedback. I'm not going to share that thing until we actually share our feedback. So give me feedback. Let's see. All right. All right. Great. Thank you very much, Triumph. All right. All right. Interesting. Lyrics. I see your comment. That's I'm laughing. Right. It's interesting, right? Right. All right. Thank you very much for that. All right. So, like I said earlier, if you love to catch up, right, with the previous webinar on stock, all right, so let me drop the link for us. Just in case you missed that webinar, you can just pick it up and catch up with it, so that I'm very sure that you find some insights that will still be applicable when you're picking your REIT for investing, right? You still find some amazing thing that you can use, right? Especially when you are picking the right investment is as good as the money you are putting in the investment, right? So let me share that and get to share one more thing that can benefit us, right? All right. Okay, yeah, I've got the link. Sorry, I'm not working with so much of a team. All right. All right. So here's the link. If you want to get access to the previous webinars and all, I have other resources there, free budgeting templates and some other free stuffs, free materials. You can get to click on it, look up the one that works for you, and you pick it up from there, right? And you can always send me a mail, right? I'll always be willing and available to attend and reply to as much as possible, right? Right. So ensure to copy out that link. I'll paste it again, so you can always the recording of this webinar, once it's available, let's say tomorrow, maximum of Wednesday, it will be available on that link as well. So you can use the link to access the recording of this space. And just in case you have friends that they were not able to like catch up, they can always like follow up there, right? And you can get access to some other things. I just added some nice things there. You should check it out, right? So I mentioned a lot of things about stock investing, right? And I'm very sure that beyond, if we go to check up the stock investing class, the stock investing webinar, you have questions, you want to learn more and all. The same thing with REIT, right? So I'll be very soon, I'll be having this class, and it will basically be on stock investing, right? But there's a but, and the but is it will also include REIT investment. So it's more like you get how would I put this? You get a stone to kill two birds, right? So you get a stone to kill two birds. So I'll be showing you that this basically is a class. Just like we have this webinar, imagine you have 4 sessions of this, 2 hours, weekends. We get to ask questions, we get to do it. I get to share the screen. Some screens that I can't share now, I get to share it. You get to like go through it, and we get everything on this list. You get a 4 comprehensive session on stock investing, on high IT investing as well. We break it down, right? If I show you the curriculum, you'll be amazed, right? You get 1 month of support and information, just like the information that client requested. So you get access to information like that I create intentionally to share, right? So that you can get to like put this into use, right? It's not about learning so much about this, right? You can get started with this and start making money with this. The first time I learned about REIT, I think like 3 months, I was able to get like 15% of my capital. Alright, right. So it's not about just learning, it's about putting it into use and making money, right? So you get 40 local and international stocks for guys that are interested in stocks. You get practical ebook on DCA for stock investing. DCA is a strategy that you use for investing generally, but you get it on stock investing and REIT. You use it, we'll make use of it in a practical class because there will be case study 1, case study 2, case study 3, right? Then you get free monthly email consultation. You can write me email in the night. I'll respond to you as long as you were in this class, right? Yeah, it's a premium kind of email, right? Then you get 15-minute private conversation with me. So let's say you have a question now that you can't ask on this general group or the general community. You get to like have a one-on-one call with me, would have that conversation, and I'll give you my insight, practical insights. Nothing hidden, nothing shielded. 15 minutes. Give me your finance. I'll break it down. I'll abuse you. I'll tell you what you're doing wrong. I'll tell you the way forward, right? You have a 15-minute call like that. Then we have premium stock investing and REIT newsletter. So it's going to be a premium newsletter, different from a general newsletter. If you're used to my newsletter already, it's not the general newsletter. It will be premium for stocks and REITs. You get access to this. Then you get to pre-order my stock and REIT newsletter, my REIT investing book at 50%, right? And you get VIP newsletter stock investing, 2 month access. So if you're interested in getting this, I'm going to be dropping the link for us. Right, I'm going to be dropping the link for us now. All right, let me see. Forms.google.com. Right. Yeah, right. I have a couple of right. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? All right, so this is the okay, open it with app, right? So if you're interested in something like that, a more practical, hands-on, private kind of stuff. Oh, interesting. So I'm dropping the link now. You can show your interest now. The class is still like in preparation because when I'm doing stuff, I like to do it like thorough. I like to make it get more value for what you're paying for, even if you're even paying me, right? Right. So, but the thing is, for this class, as you can see on the screen, there are 20 people that showed interest already, even though we have actually not scheduled a time to start or also, right? There are 20 people that have shown interest. But the thing is, because I want it to be very practical, I can only take 15 people at the first cohort. I can only take 20 people. Sorry, 15 people. I can only take 15 people, right? And because I'm taking just 15 people, that means everybody that has shown interest, it's more like you're going to be like fighting for the slots, right? So because the goal is to make it practical, we can have it for an entire month. Make it practical that people can understand and people can get to do stuff by themselves, right? And make this money. It's not about acquiring the knowledge. You get to make this money. So if you apply for this class, I'm very sure that before you leave, you have a stock portfolio, you have an REIT portfolio that is designed to fit your home goal. Because before you leave this class, I will have a 15-minute call with you. I will know what you want. I will design your portfolio to achieve what you want, right? And we can get on this. So if you're interested in this, that's the form that you could show interest, right? So by the time that the class is live, you get to apply and you can get in and get started with just 15 people. I mean, it might even be like 50 people for this quarter is already over. So it's probably next quarter, right? This is March is almost done. So it might just be 15 people for just next quarter before we have another one. So we're going to have practical hands-on and you can join us. And the last thing, the community, right? I want you to join the community. It's a newsletter. You can scan the code right here. Follow me on IG. Learn more. If you follow me on IG right now, go to my IG right now. This is my handle. You will see some things. You will see some things that I've posted on REIT that you can learn from. Trust me, it's there, right? I mean, the class is not supposed to be expensive. It's not the expensive kind of stuff. It's just something that would get you started. That if you know that you want to get your journey started, you should go for it. So back to the feedbacks. I've only seen few feedbacks. I want everybody in this space to write feedback. Please, guys, if you're with me and you would love to drop your feedback, if you're with me, let's do it this way. If you're with me and you gain value throughout the entire time, I want you to drop a 111 for me. I mean, drop 111 for me. Don't do so much, right? All right. All right. I just want you to drop a 111 for me. And you've listened throughout and you gained value throughout this entire time. I want you to drop 111 for me, right? All right. So, like we said during the stock investing class, stock investing webinar, it's not just going to be the intro, because the goal is for people to do it by themselves. We are going to start continuing the series. So just like we had stock investing 101, we're going to have stock investing 102. We'll go for that. The same thing with RIT. We explore more real estate, more real RIT, more practical hands-on. We get to compare them, get to know how to search for them, right? But these are going to be limited because of the time and the space, right? That's why the class will be the best place to like get your hand very dirty. So yeah, nice. Everybody that has dropped 111 now, if you've not written feedback, I want you to write a feedback. I mean, I have 20 something people in this space. You should be able to write me feedback. All right, great. So let's get it started and we can go call it a day. All right, great. All right, great. Amazing. It's so nice to have you guys there. So, right, good. Thank you very much for the feedback. I can see a bit of feedback now. Thank you very much. Yeah, right. All right. All right. So if we don't have any other question, I believe that's where we'd call it a day for this night. And I believe we've all learned something, right? If we've all learned something, let's say hi. Yeah. Right. All right. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you found value in this session. It's been exciting for me to share with you guys, and it's a privilege, right? And we'll get to do better with ourselves, right? So it's not about how much you have. It's not about how plenty you have it. You can start with where you are. You can start with what you have to get started managing your personal finance, right? And investing. You just have to come in contact with the right information, right? And have the intention of keep going, investing early, investing smart, investing as fast as possible, compound your investment and grow. And dream as high as possible. Freedom is what everybody's looking for. Freedom is the goal. It's not about compounding. The end goal is freedom, right? So it's your life that you're making. Dream and chase that freedom. And the only way you can chase the freedom is through investing. So, my dear friends, let's get started investing. And I'll see you another time. All right, guys. You have an amazing weekend.
Thank you so much, Kay. Have a nice week. Bye.
She has a voice of an angel. All on the power. She only sings in the shower. All these things we say get too shot down by the reasons not to. Darling, don't quit your daydream. It's your life that you're making. It ain't big enough if it doesn't scare the hell out of you. If it makes you nervous, it's probably worth it. Why save it for sleep when you could be living your daydream? So scared of failure that we fail to try. Turn it around before the finish line. Gotta fall for a minute before you can fly. So daydream. It's your life that you're making. It ain't big enough if it doesn't scare the hell out of you. If it makes you nervous, it's probably save up for sleep when you could be living your day.